DD214 Gaming Podcast is for mature audiences only. Any videos, music, or entertainment not originating from DD214 Gaming is used and covered under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, also known as fair use. Opinions expressed are our own and do not represent any DoD or U.S. government entities as a whole. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. You are no longer alone now because we have you.
Going to be prepared.
Good morning.
I'm still promoting. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing?
Oh, shit. It's been a week.
Damn, dude. Good to see you guys. How you guys been?
My brain is tired.
Scrambled? Tired?
My brain is tired. Yeah. It's not been a long week. Just been a lot of exercise in the brain.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to like some of your reviews that you have coming up. I got a little sneak preview before we went live here, and I'm really excited to hear some of your reviews this week. So yeah.
Sure. So I mean, did you guys watch Mandalorian last week?
We did actually. We did. We are caught up. So and I didn't fucking fall asleep this time. How about that?
He's semi-caught up since he fell asleep 2 episodes ago, but he didn't fall asleep this last episode. So he's not 100% caught up. He's just partially there.
No, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Like I didn't even. I like literally. I watched the little like
the recap.
Yeah, the recap and like
which showed nothing. Which showed nothing of the Doctor.
That's what I'm bro.
Yeah, the recap had nothing to do with the episode before, to be honest.
I didn't miss a fucking thing. Nikki was like poking fun of me. She was like poking fun of me the whole time. You know what I mean? It's like I won't fall asleep because it's not fucking stupid, right? If it's not stupid, I won't fall asleep, right? Like,
no, you're right. You're right.
I'm sorry. Episode 3 fucking sucked, and episode 4 was much gooder. Much gooder. What did you guys think?
I liked it. It was good. I really think we're starting to get. I think Bo is struggling a lot right now with her identity.
Yeah.
I have questions for you guys since you're like bigger Star Wars nerds than I am. Like I got questions that I want to ask you guys. So like freaking but you guys start with like how you're feeling and then I have questions for you guys.
Honestly, I'm feeling like Bo-Katan is kind of stepping in and accepting the Children of the Watch's methodology some. Like she's stepped up and she's helping them out. She's observing, she's learning. And then just the development with Grogu, even with Grogu and him and his development, even this last episode. And when he went and fucking whooped that foundling's ass
Yo.
with them fucking training darts. Like, he took 2 pot shots and then he just backflip and triple shotted that motherfucker quick.
Yeah, it was an easy engagement for Grogu once he felt it, once he was ready for it.
I actually a couple of my questions for you guys revolve around Grogu, and so like what my first question is, what did you guys think about watching him escape the Order 66 execution, and like what were your guys' thoughts on that flashback?
Do you know?
So-
first off, do you know who the actor is who played? Yep.
I was
Yep.
about to go there. So first off, big props to Favreau and Dave Filoni for giving Ahmed Best a second chance, for making it go full circle, because the guy that played the Jedi that ended up saving Grogu during Order 66 is the same actor who played Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they gave him a
And
very strong
because of-
redemption. It was great.
Because of his role as Jar Jar Binks, he actually hit an all-time low and was like contemplating ending his life
Yeah.
because of the extreme criticism he got for playing that character. And now they've gave him a chance where he's actually come back and
As a badass Jedi,
As a-
Jedi too.
as a Jedi, and not just any Jedi, the Jedi that saved fucking Grogu.
And who may also still be alive. It's entirely possible he's still alive. We didn't see.
Yeah.
We didn't see.
It's
We didn't see
possible,
like
yeah.
it's
A
you know. I
body.
mean, the Jedi were hunted to the ends of the galaxy, basically. But it is well known within Star Wars lore, like a lot of them survived. A lot of them.
A
Survived.
lot.
Yeah, like there's and like plenty probably that we haven't even heard of or know the names of. It's like, but a lot are out there, you know, in some manner or form. What did you guys? Okay, so now let me flip the script on this. So we have verified that Grogu was in fact present. He was in fact in early training and development to be a youngling. You know what I mean? A Jedi.
A
eventually.
Jedi, yep.
Now he is under the guide and the control of the tribe of Mandalorians. So like, what is your thoughts on him switching from fucking Jedi to a Mandalorian creed and lifestyle?
So here's my thing. If they do this right, Grogu will become the second ever Mandalorian Jedi.
Oh shit!
That's a
Because
big
that's
deal
who-
too.
That's who made the fucking Darksaber, right? Is
The
that correct?
original Mandalorian Jedi, the only
Right.
Mandalorian to date to have been a Jedi, is the one who created the Darksaber. We talked about it last week.
Yes.
Where,
Yeah.
you know, that's why the Mandalorians believe the Darksaber belongs to them,
Right.
because it was forged in the forges of Mandalore and all that jazz.
I remember that conversation because I
Yep.
said I hold the saying too, like the Jedi didn't deserve to hold it because they were clearly like they had bigger problems
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah.
So there was no
So-
reason the Jedi should be the caretakers of fucking anything at that point. You know what I mean? Like Mandalorians were well within their right to take that shit back. Like well within their right.
So I see them going down the path of Grogu trains with the Mandalorians, becomes a Mandalorian, and then at some point goes back and completes his Jedi training to be
A Jedi Mando.
the second ever Mandalorian Jedi. I mean, technically, even if he doesn't complete his training,
And he's a member of the same species as fucking Yoda. So we're talking like this would be a powerful motherfucker, right? Like
Yeah.
given the opportunity to like succeed, right? Like
there's images out there of Grogu in like full Mandalorian armor.
is it really?
Yeah, there's some really good depictions out there. But for those who don't know, the species that they're called the Lanic. The Lanic. I don't know if I'm saying
You would know more than me on this one.
yeah, Lanic, L-A-N-N-I-K. I don't know if it's Lanique, you know, with the way that they pronounce words in there, but you know they are an interesting
Species.
very interesting species.
Yeah,
you know, they're naturally born with midichlorians, which are the
right.
you know the atoms that make the Force.
I call it a plot hole in the fucking in episode 1, but whatever. Like, anywho, I'm just fucking with you, John.
But yeah, I mean, great episode. I think we're
Way
starting.
big, much better episode.
I want to see where Bo-Katan goes from here. I'm not. Oh, and I also have this one thing that I want to talk about too. That I kind of feel like, you know, the title. I don't think the title is about Din Djarin or Bo-Katan or anybody. I think the Mandalorian is Grogu. I think that's what this title is centering around, and that at the end of this story, like we're saying here, we're going to see Grogu with Mandalorian armor, and I think he is what the title is referring to.
We're going to eventually see a older version of Grogu, about, you know, Yoda size.
Yep.
Versus baby Yoda. We're going to see an adult, which, I mean, technically, if you look at Star Wars lore, Grogu at this point in the Star Wars timeline is about 54, 55 years old.
He's a baby. He's literally a baby in that species.
Right.
So
Yoda
we're going to eventually see
Yoda
he was like
800.
or 900 when he died.
Yeah. So yeah, this kid's not even going to be full grown until he's like fucking.
When you look
he
at
was
the
exactly 900 years old.
When you look at the timeline from when Order 66 happened to episode 1, season 1 of Mandalorian, it was 50 years.
Okay. See, that I did not know.
Yeah.
I did not know that timeline. So that's
like, but you know, and it breaks my heart because
not from Order 66 to then. It was, Order 66 to then it was 50 years, because from Order 66 to the fall of Vader.
This is after the
It was like 23, 24 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking at and then from the end of season 1 of Mando to season 2, there's a 2-year span.
Okay. So yeah, like I always find it fascinating because, you know, there's people I enjoy some of these things, and there's people like you fine gentlemen that are like way more knowledgeable.
You love this shit, yeah. And
you can nerd out on it all day. So I could just sit here and fucking listen. So, but yeah, so let's
yeah. So what happened to your beard, Joe?
So this is kind of my week in review. I was trimming the beard, trying to get, you know, some of those scragglies, those weird fucking ones that don't want to ever go in the right direction. Get those down. Thought I had the bathroom door fully latched. The doors in this apartment, some of them don't latch properly, so I didn't have it latched. The cats were fucking around, roughhousing outside the fucking bathroom door in the master bedroom, and they banged into it, came through the fucking door. I got my leg clawed. In the process, my hand slipped, and I went right down the fucking side.
Oh,
so
man.
It was one of those situations where it was like, okay, well, I'm not going completely no facial hair. I'll keep the stash. Everything else had to go because there was no real fixing it at that point.
Honestly, I think the stash isn't that bad. Like, I've seen much worse mustaches. You know what I mean?
You look like the good sheriff.
Yeah. Yeah, the good sheriff.
I mean,
you wear a white hat.
People have fucking called me a couple other things. I've been called Farva with just the mustache.
Farva, dude, that was like, dude, 1 liter of cola. Like, wasn't that like the first thing you said after you sent the picture?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, I had one buddy fucking say that it wasn't an accident. It was an application to catch a predator. And then he commences to saying he's seen better facial hair on the neo-Nazis in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh my fucking god, dude!
Oh my
god! He was trolling fucking hardcore.
That's funny, dude. That is
Oh,
funny.
Ouch.
At least you can, you can do the whole like self-effacing humor thing about it and just kind of, enjoy it. You have a mustache for what, like 3 days before you have a full beard back, I'm assuming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not
a
for
couple
not,
weeks, it'll be back. I mean, it's not. It doesn't take long. I just gotta give it
Yeah.
time. Get
Right.
past that initial itch once it starts coming back in again.
Well, at least the 2 o'clock shadow doesn't look bad. But like what I like doing like the thick mustache and then like the I'm a drunk detective that lost everything look. Like that's the look I like. That's the look I try to go for, but it never works out, man. But I'm sorry that happened to you. I can't wait to see
The
its
drunk
development next week.
detective that's lost everything, really,
Drunk
John?
detective that has lost everything.
Yeah.
Like,
He's got the thick. We're talking Jim Gordon getting ready to fucking just Jim Gordon when he's had enough.
Off of, if you've watched the animated Harley Quinn show on Netflix on HBO Max,
What up, Ashton?
It's like the Jim Gordon from that, where he's like not like 5 o'clock shadow, but still has the mustache.
Yeah.
And just looks like he fucking hates life. And
wears the same clothes 6 days a week. Hasn't showered in 13.
hasn't seen his toothbrush in like freaking 3 weeks and like didn't notice it was gone.
Yep,
Now, there is one other thing from this week that I forgot when we were prepping for the episode. I have been getting caught up on the latest season of Picard.
Okay.
Ooh.
How's that going?
I'm actually enjoying it compared to the first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons were a clusterfuck across the board. This season, it's returning back to its roots.
Okay.
And it's almost like they're setting up for the next generation crew in a sense. Like they brought Riker back, they brought LaForge back, Worf's back.
Oh no shit.
And then at the same time, LaForge's daughter is now the navigation expert for the latest generation of ships, like the nav person. And so and Picard just found out he has a son with the doctor from the next generation. So it's like they're setting up for the second generation of the next generation, the next generation in a sense. And it's really returning back to Star Trek roots versus being we're just going to capitalize on fucking Patrick Stewart's face and give him a show again.
Are you enjoying it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I watch it in the mornings when I'm sitting there getting into work, checking emails and shit. I'll pull it up on my iPad, watch an episode or two, and then shut it back off. And I actually enjoy going in and fucking pulling it up every morning. It's not there's no thought process there because of how good the development of so far over the episodes I have watched so far has been. The way the story's progressed,
sure,
it has me wanting to come back for more every morning. And
that's awesome.
I've put it into my routine. Once I'm done with this season, then I'm gonna have to find something else to throw in there. But it's definitely it's caught me, it's brought me back in. Where at the end of last season of Picard, I was like, I'm probably not gonna fucking watch the next
one. Interesting.
I'm looking forward to it. Me, as I remember it, I believe me and Nikki started watching it, and we didn't exactly stop watching it. We just kind of like fell off. We just fell off, and we haven't really hopped back on yet. So I'm a little intrigued now, maybe to like start her back up, maybe again, and like get.
See, my thing is, yeah, for me, stuff like that, I have to watch by myself because the missus isn't.
We have a few shows like that.
Isn't big into like sci-fi and stuff like that, or even another show I watch is New Amsterdam on Netflix, which is like a medical drama / fucking It's just an all over the place type of show, but it keeps you wanting to come back for more. And because she's worked in the medical field for so long, she doesn't like watching shit like that. And I don't like watching medical shows with her to begin with, because she will sit there and pick apart the whole fucking TV show. Like, if they're having to do CPR on somebody, she's like, they're not doing the chest compressions right. Like, yeah, it's fucking TV.
This is how it happens. No, but very good, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And before I get into my reviews, there is a guy named Joseph Cardenas flirting with Jay in the comments there. He's saying that Jay looks handsome as ever, looking like Brad Pitt from Fury.
Cardenas. That's one of my fucking engineer bros right there, dude. What's up, homie? Good to see you in here this morning.
Oh, you heard that, Squilini? It's an engineer.
Yeah, he's fucking
engineers.
Yeah. Fuck you, MP. Fuck you, motherfucker.
So I actually forgot to add one TV show to my list of reviews, and I'll say it real quick. I started watching a show called Extrapolations. Extrapolations. Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's an anthology series by Scott Z. Burns from Apple TV. It just came out on March 17th, and it is about climate change in the future. It has a
climate change is a myth, everyone.
The show
you fucking stop.
So first, the show has a cast and a half, and each episode shows different perspectives of these people during a current or coming apocalyptic. The end of the world is coming. Okay. We have Daveed Diggs, Kit Harington, Sienna Miller, Matthew Rice, Peter Riger, Sienna Miller, Meryl Streep. Who else we got here? Edward Norton, David Schwimmer, Diane Lane, Michael Gandolfini, who just broke my heart in the last episode that we just watched. Each episode has a different theme. The second episode, which takes place in the year 2046, called Whalefall, the main character is communicating with a whale, and the technology that they're using is sonar to easily translate what the whales are saying. Mm-hmm. to the scientists.
Yeah. I think they're pretty close to doing that with dolphins. Right
yeah,
now.
Yeah. The science is pretty accurate. Apple TV is pretty.
What do you think? What do you think the dolphins are going to say when we finally translate it for the first time? Fucking motherfuckers, stop! Like, can you guys stop?
And that's actually interesting that you say that, because like the conversation that happens. I'm not going to go on what the situation is, but one of the situations is that going on that this is the last whale on Earth.
Surprise.
Yeah, and this whale is being tricked by global conglomerate pieces of shit using sonar to trick the whale, thinking that
because global warming's a myth.
Oh my fucking!
I hate this show.
This is why everyone hates us. Okay, like, there's always one. There's always one in the room.
Like, so what's heartbreaking is that the things that the whale is saying, like it doesn't understand the technology that the humans are using. It doesn't understand why it's the only one left on Earth. It doesn't understand why
it's a big dumb animal.
Except like but the only thing that it does understand is wanting to die, and that's where you start hearing about the animals being beached and things like that. And you go, and then the next episode talks about the flood, about Miami, about Florida going underwater, which people have been talking about for years.
Can't wait.
Max
got my fucking fingers crossed on that one, dude. Like, can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Welcome in.
Oh Jesus!
Got
Christ.
laid last night, by the way, Max. Shut the fuck up.
And so now there's a lot of interesting aspects about the show, but one of the interesting things about the show is that since the show takes place from 2037 all the way to 2070, the thing that interests me the most is that these are kids who are were born from 2000 and on, who are who are constantly fighting climate and things like that. And in no way, I'm not watching this because I'm a Greenpeace slut or anything like that. Apple
I call
TV,
bullshit.
We all
Apple
know you're a
TV,
fucking hippie, bro.
bro. I fucking throw my cigarette butts everywhere. All
Oh
right,
my
I don't
God.
like
Don't fucking admit shit like that, bro.
I'm in the car.
That's even worse than being a hippie.
Listen,
God,
He's a hippie who also doesn't give a shit about climate change
listen.
like-
because it's a myth.
It's not that I don't.
I hate both of you.
What
Fucking hate both of you.
I care
Right.
about is what I care about when it comes to climate is where the fuck I'm going to be living and what do I have to wear when that time happens, because I need to adapt, because
don't you
we
live
need
on,
to
like-
adapt.
Don't you
It's
live
not-
like on the East Coast, bro? You're fucked.
Yeah,
You are
it's
fucked.
exactly, because
That's
it's not
fucked.
about survival. It's about adapting, because we're not going to survive. We have to adapt,
Pretty
and
much.
that's a big theme that this show has too, is
Well, you gotta-
adapting
well,
to
you-
the situations.
Not just our children either. We have to like adapt our grandchildren to this. It's happening.
Yeah,
It's
so
fucking happening. Like,
so far the show itself, because the last episode I watched dealt with a major terrorism plot with killing half the world to save the planet itself.
to save everything.
Yeah, so it was a very
So they tried to Thanos things. That's what they did.
Wait a
They
minute, what-
decided to.
Isn't that like the trolley car problem? It's like that philosophical question. Like it's
Yep.
the trolley. It's the it's the dilemma. Like would you kill one to save thousands?
Yeah. So
would you kill millions to save the world?
Yeah, so the
You know what I
themes
mean? Like-
the themes are heavy, and the show and the cast, like everything is so convincing, it's so powerful. It is a great show, and I'm actually highly entertained by it. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm good. I do feel it could be better. The length is great. Production is fantastic, but there's a lot of plot holes. It's not a character driven show. It's not a show where you have to connect with the characters.
More situational.
The characters are there to fill the gaps in what's going on around the world.
Right.
And the most powerful line that I heard in the show was, "It's too hot to hate anybody these days." And the context of the situation was a woman who's having breathing problems needs to move all the way up north so that she can breathe again. And she can't do it living in Florida. And she doesn't want to live with her sister, who she hates, but she can't hate her anymore because everyone's dying. So great show.
Yeah,
Go check it out.
It's what happens. What happens when we let rich fucking asshole fucking demons, in human skin,
Yeah.
run
And that's another big theme. The biggest theme is Kit Harington, who you don't even see in the show. You see him once or twice. He is the big bad global conglomerate piece of shit who's mining in the North Pole.
Still, even while the world is collapsing around everything, like there's still going to be those asshole fucking demons in human skin, dude. Like just fucking continuously fucking everyone else over.
Yeah, great show. So
Reminder, GD214 Gaming like officially stands by. There's no such thing as a good person billionaire. We stand by that.
It's
there's
very
no
true.
such thing as a good human being who is also a billionaire.
You don't get that far. You don't get that far without blood in your hands.
You don't get anywhere near that amount of money by being a good person on like any level, pretty much.
So what do you tell people to do, Jay, every now and then? Read, right?
Always. So even if I don't always take my own advice, but yes.
Yeah. So this week I read several short stories this week. And it was I was doing production on my other show, The Artificial Mind Sheet, plug, go check it out. And the episode in question, the theme of the episode was the famous short stories. And I'll start off with I started off with 2 stories called Birds. Okay. Well, first, what the one is, but by Daphne du Maurier, which came out in 1952, which turned into the Alfred Hitchcock movie. No explanation there. No explanation there. The story is actually kind of the short story kind of brings up the fact that, like in the movie, because the movie I believe takes place in a different section than what the short story does. The story explains that this is a worldwide event, and shows that in the movie. But there was another story that I read called Birds.
Okay.
By Norwegian author Tarjei Vesaas, and the story follows the inner world of Mattis, a 37-year-old man with a childlike mind who lives with his sister in a remote rural area. But Mattis is fascinated by like the birds that surround him, and his fascination takes on an increasingly obsessive quality as the story progresses. But when a tragedy befalls the birds, Mattis is forced to confront the reality of the natural world and where he belongs in it. And the story is poignant exploration of innocence, vulnerability, and the delicate balance of life.
How did you like it?
I kind of felt like I could relate to it.
Okay.
You know, and that was, and I didn't do that one for the show, but that was one that was very interesting. But what I did read was several stories that dealt with a character named Multivac, which was created by Isaac Asimov. Asimov. I'm going too Soviet with the names.
No, you're okay, dude.
I'm going too Soviet with the name. But anyway, you know, I was checking out Robot Dreams. I checked out a few of the stories, and there are actually a couple of stories with the character Multivac in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into who Multivac is, but what the story that has literally like, I was like, holy shit, was The Last Question. Are you familiar with the story?
Maybe if you describe it's a short story, I'm assuming.
It is a short story.
I've read many of his short stories, but not all of them. But what was the
last question, published in 1956, it was set in the distant future, spanning billions of years, and explores themes of entropy.
Is that the one where there's a fucking like a robot like house basically, and it's freaking.
And they're asking him a bunch of questions, and he comes to the end of the universe, and he's like, "I know what the answer is."
No, that's no. That's freaking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? No,
I'm not familiar too much with Hitchhikers.
There was like a science fiction story I remember reading where it was like basically like post nuclear war.
Yeah,
and so like, and the house was still doing its like attempting to do its daily tasks, and it was like. And like shit was falling apart, and like so, is that the one you're thinking of?
No, but okay. This one was more about like it started off with humans asking him throughout these billions of years, how can the net amount of entropy of the universe be massively decreased? How do you decrease predictability? Right? It's kind of an impossible question to answer. But despite centuries of technical advances, no answer was ever found. But as time passes and the universe approaches its inevitable death, humanity constructs a giant supercomputer named Multivac to finally answer the question. And when Multivac is asked the question repeatedly over thousands of years, it is still unable to find the unsatisfactory answer. But however, as the universe nears its end, Multivac finally arrives at the solution. It tells groups of humans that it has discovered a way to reverse the entropy of the universe, effectively resetting it and starting the cycle anew. The never-ending cycle of the universe. Good evening, Ben.
It sounds about right. Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds about right. Like
so in the climax of the story, Multivac asks the last question, which is interesting because think about it. The title of the story is The Last Question.
Yeah.
The final question is not about the nature of the universe or the fate of humanity, but simply, is this the last question? But it ends with the implication that Multivac has transcended from physical form into becoming one with the universe, echoing the cycle of creation and destruction that's been going on since like the beginning of time, since caveman days.
Going on for like 13 billion fucking years already, dude. Like,
through the stories that I did read, like I also read Gift of the Magi, which is another powerful story. If you guys are not familiar with it, please read it. It's another story. But the last question is, even talking about it now, I'm still a little like, holy shit. Right?
Pretty cool though. That's pretty cool. Fucking a book did that for you, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, huh?
Yeah, and then the last short story I read, which goes into my movie review, was 3:10 to Yuma, which
no shit.
Yeah, so 3:10 to Yuma was actually was my choice, and I made a really cool art depiction of the two characters. It was first, if you know the characters, Ben Wade, Charlie Prince, and all this stuff, it's a good Western. But I went in and I watched. I'm really loving cowboys, and I was just telling the guys earlier today. There's a place near me called Wild West City that I really want to be at. But anyways, so we was watching 310 to Yuma, and the story is about a veteran played by Christian Bale. I watched the Christian Bale and Russell Crowe one. It's about a veteran, Christian Bale, who loses his herd from Russell Crowe's character Ben Wade, and he's pretty pissed off about it. And it turns into this cycle of like, well, I'm gonna somehow get back at you. And let me get a spoiler warning for this, because this movie has been out since 2007. We know what's going on. Cowboy times. Wells Fargo's around. The Pinkertons are alive, in which I actually did not know that the Pinkertons have been around since 1850. They are an actual company, and they are fucking just as ruthless as they were then.
Buddy.
My friend Ben, the Pinkertons are real, and I didn't even know that Wells Fargo was even around during that time too, which is crazy as hell. So
there was some wild ass shit out west, dude.
There was some wild shit going on back then. And so, so we have Ben Wade, stealing wagons and things like that. And we're gonna go on. I'm just gonna kind of skip it through.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. So Christian Bale's character Dan is pissed off, and then he finds out that there's a bounty out for this guy, and he says, "I'll take him to the 310 to Yuma." And for $200.
Yeah.
Limping, one leg, a one-leg veteran. He's still got it in him, and you're still doing. He's arguing with his wife. He's about to lose his farm. The railroad is being built over his land, and like they're telling him, like, you got to pay this, or we're done. So he needs the money. He's desperate for this money. So he goes into the challenge to bring Ben Wade to the 310 to Yuma.
Right.
And let me tell you the things that happen in between, like Ben Wade killing the one bounty hunter because he was singing, and and then we go on into the morning where we get into the town of Contention, and things starting to get heated up. They're waiting for the train, and Charlie Prince comes in, and he offers the town $200 to whomever could shoot the guy who has Ben Wade. And that's what the climax of the film is this giant shootout, and then this whole big toss-up of the Pinkerton backing out, Christian Bale telling his son to go with the Pinkerton, a defiant son. And then the moment happens when the shootout happens. He's trying to escape, and Ben tells him, "You could go. I'll let you walk away." And Christian Bale, Dan says to Ben, "I've never been a hero. I got shot in the leg by my own man while we were in retreat." And that right there just changes the whole course of if you're familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about, Jay.
What did they call Ben Wade's fucking pistols again?
Oh shit.
Was it like the hand of God or like the wrath of God?
I think it was that
God's hand or some shit. God's wrath. Fucking, you got to put up a picture of those fucking beautiful fucking pistols from that movie.
It was said to be cursed. As anyone who touches it, the way. Yeah, what the hell? What the name? Yeah, I have the picture of his gun too. Hang on. Yeah, it was a very beautiful pistol.
Dude, fuck yeah.
And that was something that happened within the story too, how when Charlie Prince saw someone with the pistols and he killed them. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Just look at that. Just look at it.
Very beautiful. So now we're at the end of the movie. We know that Christian Bale's trying to, do his thing. He's trying to, get his money out, and the major shootout. And then we get to the end, and Charlie, he's bringing this fucking guy. He's bringing Ben Wade into the train, and you're gonna have to watch the movie to see what fucking happens in the end there, guys. I just told the whole movie except the end. So go watch it. 310 to Yuma is, for me,
they called it the hand of God.
The hand of God. Okay.
Yeah, they call that pistol the hand of God. Fucking love that shit.
I'm
dude.
going to give 310 to Yuma a 9.5 out of 10.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah.
Great story, great characters, great cast. I still like Max Moretz says I still like the pistol from John Wick 4. It's nice.
The TTI Pit Viper.
Yep.
Okay.
They're nice. I'm not mad at it. Well, but yeah,
two different time eras. You got
I
like
had-
Wild West versus
I
like
had
modern.
a super I had a super long review, but now it's your turn, Jay.
Are you sure? Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's all I
No,
had.
that was okay. I enjoy, dude. I enjoy listening to you guys talk about the things that you know.
I'm definitely gonna be reading more Isaac throughout the week, though.
We've been in believe it or not, in our household, we've been talking about like setting aside more time for reading, and like that is something that I have struggled with mightily. Like while I was still in the army, and since I've gotten out, I've struggled mightily like getting back into it and like making it more of like the relaxing hobby it used to be. It's like I struggle reading now sometimes. It's like it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul. But I'm so happy to hear when other people do it. So
Yep.
fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. So all right, yeah. So yeah, kind of another regular week in my book. But we did do a couple of things, and we got to see a couple of shows that we've been kind of waiting on. I'll do a quick review. So for those of you that are familiar with this TV show Yellowjackets, okay, I watched the first season with my beautiful girlfriend Nikki, and then we were basically like waiting in the interim for this second season to come out. Now, before I continue, this is not exactly like all the way my flavor or my cup of tea, okay? But like, I just want to say this about this show. These fucking people in this show are fucking crazy, dude. Like this show goes so fucking like batshit insane. Like I'm talking like every major character is batshit, completely batshit crazy. And so it's like now that we're so fucking episode 2 just fucking dropped, and there's only one episode out right now. So we watched that the other day. And let me kindly assure everyone with no spoilers, everyone is still batshit fucking crazy. Okay, like everyone in this fucking goddamn TV show, like they just like, I don't know. I like. It's one of those shows where like I like watching it with Nikki, and like
It's a show that's on my list.
I kind of chime in once in a while just to like talk shit or like make fun of one of the characters, or like that's like, wow, lady, like you really fucking lost it, didn't you? Like you really just fucking lost your marbles, didn't you? Like there's like there ain't much going on. Like there ain't much going on upstairs except a lot of fucking broken gears and fucking broken glass. You know what I mean? Like like literally everyone in the fucking show is fucking batshit. And so it like that's part of why, you know, I kind of jokingly made this today's episode, we named it, you know, fucking Witches Be Crazy. I know you showed it earlier, John, but yeah, that's why we called it Witches Be Crazy. Because yeah, there are elements of fucking witchcraft, murder, fucking cannibalism, survival, blah blah blah, but fucking plot holes and fucking who the fuck, I don't know, dude. I don't even pretend to keep up with shows like this, dude. This is why I don't watch a lot of TV sometimes, is because it gets really like, even this is one of the more like original shows I've seen in a while. It's still not fucking that great, dude. Like, it's still like they had to make everybody batshit crazy for it to be like watchable. Does that make sense? So like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna give Yellowjackets as a whole up to this point, like it's a semi-solid. Like we're not exactly flaccid, but we're not exactly like at full mast here. You know, like I'm gonna give it like about a 6.5. Like it's kind of like, it's like
It looks about that.
If you get, you know, if you're on like I don't know, like maybe like a halfway decent beer buzz, you know, or maybe you just smoked a pre-roll from the local dispensary, you know, it might be okay for like an hour here, an hour there, and then you slowly just kind of watch it over time. Maybe. I as a whole, I'm really not fucking impressed, dude. But it is kind of fun. It is kind of fun to watch, like how fucking stupid everybody in that goddamn show is.
Yeah,
that makes it fun, because
that's funny as hell.
When everybody's batshit, nobody is batshit, right?
No tactical awareness, I guess.
It's It's fucking stupid. It's all fucking stupid, John. Like, I'm sorry. Like, John? Can you give me a sec? Like, before I go on, I sent John and Joe a picture in our little group chat on Facebook. Pull up the fucking picture of the matinee fucking thing for like the local movies. You know what I mean? Pull that up, please. Like, you guys all think I'm like this jaded, cynical asshole that like doesn't like anything, and it's so far from true. But the reason you always hear me bitching and griping and moaning about dumbass shit on TV and movies, in literature, whatever, is because like this is the fucking world that we're living in right now, and like there's nothing new under the sun. It is all fucking like the same fucking rechurn bullshit. Did Nikki just call me boring?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pull up that.
She 100% did.
Pull up that picture, please. I want everybody to see what like how many fucking like look at this shit. If you can zoom in on that.
I cannot.
My beautiful girlfriend says I'm boring, but this is the world. It says Shazam 2, Scream 6, Ant-Man fucking 3, Jesus Revolution, and Avatar 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fucking world you live in, and like this is the fucking spoon and force-fed fucking bullshit that's getting rechurned and regurgitated up your ass fucking year in and year out.
Well, hold on, wait. Shazam 2 was terrible. Scream 6 was actually really fucking good.
I don't see any. Yeah, but which one of those is an original story? Jesus Revolution? Because they totally left out the part where
they've been telling the story about Jesus since the beginning of the time. There is no originality in that.
We discussed that on this show. Like I grew up in that church. Like I went to that church. They totally leave out the part where Lonnie Frisbee was like a gay man who was a pastor, and he died of AIDS in like the early 90s, and that church fucking like completely like fucking like blocked him off.
Scream and Avatar would have to be the two marquee movies there. Because those are
Ant-Man is a marquee movie now. Like fucking Ant-Man. That's what we're working with now. And it's the third one too, right? There's fucking 3 of them. I haven't seen the first 2.
I like Ant-Man. They were actually really good. I liked them.
I mean, here's the thing.
Paul Rudd was the sexiest man.
They're catering to what people want right now. Superhero movies, and then
I guess regurgitated
prequels and sequels and quadruples of fucking horror movies that should no longer be are a thing that's still around. People still go and want to see that shit. And that's what Hollywood does. Yeah. They cater to the numbers. More people want to see shit like that than people want to see original content.
I like art. So like, I don't see a single one of those movies qualifying as what like fucking cinema art. Like that was just rehashed, regurgitated. If you like those movies, you're into them, like more power to you. It's your money. But that's why if I sound like a jaded and cynical asshole, well, it's because I fucking am, and I'm surrounded by bullshit like that, like at the fucking local movie house. When I have to like, I want to go see a movie, and I can't even go see a movie because it's all the same fucking rechurned fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's the thing. I'm not sure if you know, but they're actually in the process of filming the 4th Expendables movie.
I thought there was 4.
There's 3.
I couldn't tell you. That's what I'm saying.
So far, this is why like 4 is still in production.
It's hard not to make fun of this shit sometimes.
Oh, Tony Jaa's in it.
Like, God damn it! You almost like I almost feel bad. It's like low hanging fruit. It's like fighting a drunk person. You know? You ever gotten to a fight with like a super drunk person and like realized like it was just like fighting a toddler?
Have you ever gotten to a fight with Tony Jaa while drunk?
That's possible. That maybe.
Says the guy who watches Cocaine Bear.
Wait a minute, because Cocaine Bear was a fantastic movie. All right,
that was art. I would say Cocaine Bear qualifies
Cocaine Bear
than like fucking any of those like.
Cocaine Bear was a fantastic movie, a historical drama.
As was Violent Night. That was a fucking awesome movie too. Like,
I wouldn't say historical, but yeah, awesome movie. But Cocaine Bear was a true story.
It was a charming tale about a bear that falls in love with a light powdery substance called cocaine. All right, takes all your bad feelings and turns them into good feelings. Okay, you don't want none of this shit, Dewey Cox. All right.
I mean, if you want the whole account, I could go hours on about how much I liked it
I still have yet to watch it
or do it.
It's like
or do it. Yeah.
bullshit, Joe.
All right.
You've never done the booger sugar, Joe.
I've never
Bullshit.
done the
There's
booger sugar.
there is a requirement being in DD214 Gaming Podcast.
It's like you have to have had at least one bad Coke night in your life. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll see your bad Coke night with a bad acid trip. That's the best I can give you.
Okay. All right. Fucking yeah. I'll be grinding my teeth, fucking looking out the window every 3 minutes while you're melting into the couch, like having an existential crisis, right? Like,
and then
fucking A.
So
okay, so additionally to Yellowjackets, and honestly, Yellowjackets isn't actually like as bad as I make it sound. It's just I laugh and I joke at the expense of that TV show, because it is the part of it that is actually compelling is the fact that like everyone in that show is batshit crazy. That actually does make it a little like fairly compelling at times, because you're like, I really don't know what the fuck they're gonna do next, because they're all literally like batshit. So like, anywho, moving on. We also watched a quite charming actually movie called Murder Mystery. It came out in 2019. I think it's on fucking Netflix. Well, not it's got fucking Sandler and Jennifer Aniston in it. Yeah, it's actually not too bad. The movie lost a few points with me because some shit got dragged out, and there was some of the what would you call them, plot devices used were just a little too tropey for me. And like where I wanted the movie to be a lot more charming than it was charming at times, but I really wanted it to be more charming than it was. And it started falling a little flat. I noticed that there is a sequel. Haven't seen the sequel yet.
I was about to say that. You know they made a sequel to it, right? And you were just bashing movies with sequels.
Yeah, and then like it's like one of those like that's what I'm saying. It's like, and the funny part is like I did kind of enjoy the movie, but it really wouldn't get that high of a score with me either. It's like it'd be like I'm gonna say like this one would be more closer to like 6.5, 7. You know, where Yellowjackets is like 6, 6.5. This is gonna stand about the same place, 6.5, maybe 7 at the most. And it really lost points because they kind of dragged it out, and it was like, and it got really tropey really quick. And then the whole ending sequence was just kind of out there. And anywho, Murder Mystery, Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston, collecting your money, freaking on Netflix. Like, it wasn't too bad. I'll give it, an eh. It was all right. It was all right for one night. It was an eh. It was all right.
He gives it an eh.
It's like after, when you get up after watching a movie and you're just kind of like, oh, well, how was it? What'd you think? Eh. All right.
Eh.
We'll try again next time. Okay. Is it, John, is it time? Is it that time again? Yep. I see you.
It's never that time.
No, you know what happened? The background was missing.
And then you found the background?
Yeah. Well, I had to put it back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at that. And now me and Squilini. Well,
yeah. Now, like,
hold on.
John, are you pressing buttons again?
John,
yeah.
Just stop pushing buttons.
No.
I'm gonna try something.
Oh, here we go. Oh. Here we go. All right. Are we gonna roll that beautiful bean footage? We got that? Or is that the no? Nobody's got it today? No? Jay's on his own? Go fuck myself? Is that what we're doing?
It's because when we take our things off, play it now, Squilini.
No. There we go. That was a lot better. All right. Well, pilgrims, it's been a while. Hope you all have been well. I'm sitting here at the convergence of the California, Kansas, and Oregon trails in Independence, Missouri. I hope you all have had a good couple of weeks. I'm excited to see you again. Boy, do I got a couple of stories for you. All right. Fucking A. Yeah, so this week for the Roadhouse, on Friday night, we had a daddy-daughter dance. So, and believe it or not, due to my prior occupation being, you know, a soldier in the fucking army and being like gone and deployed all the time, this was actually the very first time I have ever gone to a daddy-daughter dance with either of my my girls, but I got to take both of them. So that was really, really fucking cool. And so we had a good evening. Girls got to see a lot of their friends, you know, like outside of school hours, which is always fun. Got to dance with both of my daughters and had a good time watching them have fun and like run around. And then we actually sat down and we got our picture taken together. So I'm looking forward to seeing those prints when they come back. So yeah, that was daddy-daughter dance. And then last night, me and my goddess Nikki, oh boy, dude, guess who we got to see, John? Guess who we got to see? Are you guys there?
Who?
God damn it. You're fine. We got to see Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains fame. Okay. And it was really cool to experience, you know, part of like the legacy, you know what I mean? Like with some of the music that I grew up with, some of the music that became the soundtrack to like a lot of my time in the army, a lot of my time in Afghanistan. And to get to hear it and kind of see it live. John, if or Joe, if you guys have a chance, can you pull up the picture that I sent earlier, the JPEG of the Uptown Theater? And I just wanted people to see here in Kansas City, like when you go see a show, depending on which venue you're at, and some of these theaters downtown, you know, the older ones, they all have this very like kind of like Victorian, like, you know, almost kind of like Wild Westy look to them. You know, it's very like, you know, old fashioned, you know, but that's how old the fucking theaters are. And seeing Jerry Cantrell play his heart out, you know, for about an hour and a half, you know, was a real fucking treat. He played some very well known Alice in Chains song. Thank you for that, by the way. Very, very good. So yeah, you can see just kind of like it's the decor, you know, and that's like, and we were up in the balcony, which you can't see in this picture, but we were up in the balcony and just kind of observing it all, kind of like, you know, slightly from a distance. And like, yeah, and see, that's the Midland right there. And so that's actually taken from the stage. So that would be, if you're on the stage looking out into the crowd, that's the Midland Theater. And like, that's kind of Kansas City's vibe, you know, especially with some of the older buildings downtown. And that's like, it's really fun. Oh, that's right. We got some footage. Can you, can we turn the sound on that? Is that possible? I don't remember which song this was, but I think Nikki, I can't hear that. Can you hear it? But yeah, that's Jerry Cantrell. That was a fucking good show. So yeah, anywho, I got to take a little bit of a time, you know, I got to time travel a little bit and take a trip back to my, you know, some of my youth, some of my early 20s, and a whole lot of time in the fucking army, all through the music of, you know, Jerry Cantrell and Alice in Chains. He also did a song where it was just three guitars, and it was just three guitars playing, and that was the song. And that was like, it was just an instrumental piece basically. And that was really fucking cool to listen to. So like Jerry Cantrell's like always going to get fucking thumbs up from me. The guy he got to sing with him sounded exactly like Lane Staley. So when they played the Alice in Chains songs, it was like, I didn't even care if there were people standing up in front of us and we were sitting down, like I could hear it. And so, and they like, it sounded extremely fucking close to like, you know, what Alice in Chains fucking sounds like, you know, when you pop your CD, you know, into your fucking piece of shit car. Right. So anywho, Jerry Cantrell, fucking, that was the Roadhouse, dude. Daddy-daughter dances and freaking Alice in Chains freaking flashbacks. Right. So that was it was a good weekend in Jay's neighborhood. So guys, I'll get ready and turn it back to you. I think I might go refill my coffee. John, do we have any commercials today?
We do. I'm trying to figure out where our background went. The green one. But yeah, I got a commercial for you right now.
Okay.
I'll play two of them. I was
going to say, I'm going to try to hurry. I'll turn my video off for a second, but I'll be right back.
I'll play two of them. Don't you're not turn your video off. You're good.
Are you fascinated by the intersection of artificial intelligence and the human mind? Do you want to stay up to date with the latest developments in this rapidly evolving field? Look no further than the Artificial Mind Podcast. Hosted by veterans Jeremy Strobridge and Jonathan Sanchez, each episode delves into a new and exciting topic, from the creation of images through AI to the impact of nightmares on our mental and physical well-being, and much more. They use cutting-edge technology, like Midjourney, to uncover new insights and perspectives on the world of AI. So, whether you're a tech enthusiast, a student, or just curious about the future, tune into the Artificial Mind podcast and join Jeremy and Jonathan on an exciting journey into the unknown. Available now on your favorite podcast app.
Get ready for a journey into the world of video game lore with You, Me, and Lore. Hosts Brandon and Kenny take you on a thrilling adventure through the background stories of your favorite games. Currently, they cover two of the biggest titles, Halo and Death Stranding. Learn about Master Chief's battles in Halo and uncover the secrets behind the mysterious world of Death Stranding. These games offer more than just action and adventure, they offer rich stories that are waiting to be explored. Join Brandon and Kenny as they dive deeper into the lore and bring you the insights and information that make these games truly unforgettable. Subscribe to You, Me, and Lore now and never miss a beat in the exciting world of video game lore.
Join the Army today and be part of something bigger than yourself. You'll get to do important work, like filling out paperwork and scrubbing toilets. But hey, it's all part of the job. Whether you're working in an office or in the field, you'll be part of a team that is dedicated to serving their country and occasionally saving the world from aliens or supervillains. And who knows, you might just get to shoot a gun someday. Just make sure you aim for the target and not your own foot. So, if you're looking for a career that will challenge you and give you the chance to wear a snazzy uniform, join the Army today and become a part of a proud and occasionally wacky tradition.
That never gets old.
I
That
love
never
it.
gets old.
I love it. I love it. That's one of my favorite things right there.
Absolutely.
so-
Absolutely, dude.
All right, so what we got today, that's not supposed to be making that noise. What we got today, we're at 60 minutes now. We said it was going to be just a little bit long today. I think we're going to hit the 2-hour mark today, guys, but we just want to give an origin story. It's Origin Day. You know, we decided, hey, maybe, you know, if you want, if you have any questions, and I'm talking about like if there's any questions between, the Chase Roadhouse logo still there. Whoops. If there's any questions that you guys who are watching that want to ask, or even like if there's questions amongst the three of us that we want to ask about each other, you know,
Sure.
you know, be sad, be happy, there it is. But who's going first? Or am I going to have to spin the wheel on this one?
Well, it's up to you guys. Freaking, I'm always curious to hear everyone's stories. So it's fun. It's fun for me. I like listening sometimes. So, John, why don't you start, John?
All right. So born and raised in New Jersey, the greatest state in the East Coast. Original we're OG 13, okay, and we're OG, all right.
One of the original colonies. Been there the whole time.
We've been here since day one, baby. Since day -1.
Yeah.
Day negative, but you know, grew up here. You know, I had a fascination for comic books, heavy metal, rock music, you know, but at that time I was growing up, I was listening to new metal, Korn, Mudvayne, you know, the Slipknot, the works. I was going to a lot of concerts. I enjoyed it, but I still didn't know, you know, I think at that time, during that time, I still wanted to be something cool. I wanted to be in a rock band. I wanted to be, I kind of always wanted to be a cop, but there was always something I've always wanted to be, and that was a soldier. But I never worked towards being a soldier. You know, there was nothing that I ever did that showed that I wanted to be there, except that I was in the ROTC when I was in high school. You know, did
you like the ROTC? Did you like doing that?
I was not mentally prepared for it.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair response.
I was not because for example, I didn't respect it. Okay. And the best example that I could give to that is that we had to do, and I look back at it now, and I'm looking at it when I'm thinking about it this moment, I'm just like, wow, you know, like I really, you know, these are experience things that you do when you're kids, when you're younger, and they were funny, but then I really knew then, I was not ready for it, because the discipline that my Gunny Martinez, who was a fucking asshole, by the way, complete fucking asshole.
Oh, so you were Marine Corps ROTC?
Yes, yeah, it was Marine Corps ROTC, and what was interesting is that the discipline that he had, I think he lived like less than a mile away from the school, and he would leave the school to use the bathroom. He would hold in his shit and go home. He would not shit anywhere else other than home. When we would had to do like little functions, he wouldn't even use the bathroom. Like, this guy's discipline was so unhealthy, like it was weird, but like I respected that,
Sure.
but I still wasn't ready to want to be in the military.
Some people are just shy poopers.
Yeah. That works too. So I had some trouble in school. I wasn't the greatest student. I got kicked out of one school, which was Emerson High School, and I got kicked out of that school because I wasn't I was doing good in my tests, but I wasn't showing up to school and I wasn't doing my homework, but I was a pretty good student. I didn't harass anybody. I was not a fighter. I tagged shit up a lot.
I mean, don't we all? Don't we all?
I tagged shit up a lot, but that was really like the extent of it. And throughout that time, I kind of focused on wanting to get into music. I was in several heavy metal bands after I throughout my high school years, and after I was in Sleeper Cell, Last Breath Taken, Tomorrow Leads to Nothing, Side Effect.
Yeah. I fucking love those names, dude. Those are fucking badass.
And
Tomorrow Leads to Nothing. Like,
Tomorrow Leads to Nothing was there was a lot of drama with that, but that was like my first band.
Last Breath Taken. I fucking love it, dude.
So
fucking dig it.
Last Breath Taken was actually, it's a tie between them and Sleeper Cell. And what's funny about like Last Breath Taken is that we were the more like Pantera, like, we even had a song that we were influenced by the song Domination. We used the breakdown from Domination in one of our songs, which was really cool. And rest in peace, Ray Rivas, who was the guitar player. That was a fun band, but my favorite band to be in was Sleeper Cell. On top of the fact that we played the day before September 11th, and like there was some questionable stuff that was going on because a band named Sleeper Cell was going to be across the river from Manhattan in Cliffside Park the day before 9/11 in a certain year. So, I can't get into some of that stuff there, but there was some interesting things that happened in that
community, basically.
Yeah, in that community that happened. So, my heavy metal presence was awesome, and I loved every second of it, but then it shifted. There was something that the passion was dying for me because I still didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. And then I met my wife. I got an apartment with my best friend Mike, met my wife, and we've been together since 2008. And to kind of put the story short, still going through jobs, trying to figure out who I wanted to be, what I wanted to be. And then, my wife, she got pregnant, and I told her, hey, I signed, we're talking, it's like June. And I was like, hey, in April, I signed the contract to go to the Army. And, there was a lot of contention there. But at that time, I still didn't know who I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. But I knew then what I needed to do was to give my wife and upcoming child a place to live and a life to look forward to. And so I joined the Army. Right. And during that time in the Army, I'm not going to say I was the perfect soldier, because I don't think anyone is the perfect soldier. Well, there are a few.
There's always going to be high performers, and the high performers are probably about as close as you can get to saying like a perfect soldier. But even there's a lot of high performers who are also fucking toxic as shit.
Yeah.
So like out of that percentage of like high performers, you still have like a percentage of that. They're still fucking shitbags because they're toxic as fuck, right? So it's like, so even like there is no perfect soldier. There's no perfect soldier. No such thing. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Oh, absolutely, right? Absolutely. And what was interesting about this time, like I knew I wanted to be in the Army. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was, I knew about Audie Murphy. I knew about, the Bob Ross's moral dilemma with the Air Force.
Mhm.
These are things that I read about growing up that, that I've always been interested in, and things that I was like, could that be me? Could I be as frustrated as Bob Ross was? Could I be as heroic as Mike Murphy was? These were
Audie
always
Murphy.
questions. And Audie Murphy. There was Mike Murphy and Audie Murphy.
Oh, you're talking about Mike. Okay,
You know,
you said
no,
Audie Murphy. First.
no,
You're
but I
talking
did
Mike
read about
Murphy.
I did read about Audie Murphy with Ben, and coincidentally, I ended up in Fort Benning, where
Right.
Audie Murphy is practically like worshipped there.
Well, yeah.
You know,
People. Yeah, it's Audie Murphy, dude. Like,
yeah.
that's how it works.
So even though I still didn't know, but I ended up, I first signed up for infantry, bitched out of it, and I went into water filtration. 3 months later, my recruiter told me, "Oh yeah, that job was given away, so you're gonna be a cook." And I was like, fuck it, let's do it, let's go. No hesitation.
Send it.
I didn't question it. I was just like, you know what? I'll have a uniform. I'll be able to provide for my family. What the fuck does it matter what I do? And I went in and I did it. And in boot camp, I had a dilemma where Hurricane Sandy. I was in boot camp when Hurricane Sandy happened, and my wife was sleeping in the salon, with my newborn child, who I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 times before I even left for boot camp.
Sure.
So I tried to leave. I tried to fuck everything up, and my drill sergeant called my wife. And she said he doesn't have a place to come back to if he leaves. My mother said the same thing. My father said the same thing. My friend said nope. I had burned a lot of fucking bridges before I went to the Army. I had pissed off a lot of fucking people. Kind of like an old Western in a way, where you leave the town of Blackwater because you really fucked up and you can't
Really,
go back
like,
there anymore.
Really, like, shit on yourself and your
Yeah.
reputation, right? Like,
I was a
so tell us about the redemption. Tell us about the redemption.
Well, the redemption was forcing myself to learn discipline and forcing myself to stay where I needed to be to provide for what needed to provide. Because even then, during the time when I was in boot camp, I was not in a mentally good place. My marriage was not in a good place. I was not in a good place with my family, my friends. The only people that I knew at that moment were the people I was stuck in that trailer with for those 3 months. And because of that, it forced me to learn the discipline that I needed to start, not to be a better person instantly, because that shit doesn't happen instantly, but to start the process of trying to become a better person.
I like your drill sergeant. I like your drill sergeant. He identified the problem very quickly and solved it very efficiently.
Yeah, that his name is Drill Sergeant Elton Thomas, and let me tell you that guy was
Yeah. I apologize, John.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This guy was
Elton Thomas.
Drill Sergeant Elton Thomas, who I believe now is a master sergeant. I do have him on Facebook, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have never made it. He motivated me. He told me, thank you, Mom. Oh shit, my mom is watching. Thank you, Mom. And it was a trials and tribulation time for me, because I did not know what the fuck what was going to happen to me. I didn't know. I was going to one of the most notorious units in the world. I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought the moment I get there, I was going to get deployed, and that was it. I didn't think I was going to be a cook at all by the time I got to Benning. I thought there was a lot of different things I heard. But I got there.
It was a different time. It was a different time, like in the Army. So what year did you go to basic, and then
2012 into 2013? So I came home for Christmas Exodus, which was actually a very major moment, because I got to rekindle a lot of things with my family. I got to spend Christmas with them, which is no better time to make things right, And that during that time, I finally realized what was important. But even then, in the military, I did my time. I still had some issues. I found out I found out that my allergic reaction to bananas was a lot worse than I had previously thought. I learned that I can be smart, and that the one thing that the Army taught me, even through several Article 15s for being overweight. Yeah, me being 240 pounds. You know,
You overcame that though too, didn't you?
I overcame that. I overcame an alcohol problem, which gave me pancreatitis, which led me to meet my first my lieutenant colonel and
At your BC, your
and
fucking
my
sergeant
yep,
major.
on their first day of work
Oh, great.
in the hospital. Okay, but the most important thing is I learned what friendship was all about, and that no matter where you are, no matter who you are, like Squillini and Campbell here, you could build a teamwork and a network through distance with the time that we have today. And that's what I learned in the military. And so after that, I got out of the military. I was really into gaming. I got out because of my dilemma with wanting to become a photographer or wanting to continue my career in the army and let the mental anguish get to me, because it was getting to me. And the problem was I didn't know how to not let it get to me.
Right.
And so I got out. So I got out, and I wanted to go to school, which I went to school.
Good.
Only passed one class, Business 101.
Got
I
that one
didn't.
knocked out and got
Yeah,
that one knocked out of the way though.
yeah, that one's good. So I don't have to take that one ever again. But I do want to go back into college, but I wanted to become a streamer. I wanted to become like Dr. Disrespect, and we've all been there. And I'm to say that we're there now, but not in the numbers that we projected when we were younger. It still makes me feel good because I wanted to become a game streamer, but it wasn't the frustration or the impatience. It was me wanting to expand my knowledge and wanting to do more. And that's when I came into podcasting. And I
Right.
started off with my first podcast, which was called Bong Rips and Video Games. I've always been in the video game space, or I've tried to be, and that didn't work out. And then I came here into the DD214 podcast. We started this together, Jay, and we're here now, 103 episodes.
Technically 103, but about almost
A couple more.
almost a full year's worth of stuff before that.
Yeah.
So, like yeah.
And even then, like now I'm doing podcasting now, and I'm doing several of them, producing several, editing for others,
Yep.
giving advice. And actually, I'm just gonna say, guys, there's going to be a Clean Sanchez masterclass coming out this year for if you want to be a podcaster on a budget. But we'll talk about that another
That's
time.
fucking story of all of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Just
So I
fucking
mean,
balling on a budget.
I'm coming to a point now where now I learned so much. I want to teach it now. And I think the best thing about what's going on with where I am in my life right now is that I have friends that support what I do. I have friends that help me with what I do. I have, people, I have people who I have different perspectives with. I have my military friends. I have my hometown friends. I have my gaming friends. I have my acquaintances. I have the love of my life. I have my kids. I have my job, which is this.
Sounds like you have a healthy work-life balance.
Yeah.
That sounds healthy.
Russia could come in and nuke the shit out of New York right now, and we could die, and I would die happy because that's where I am right now.
That's good. That's good to hear, dude.
That's my origin story.
I like that. That's fucking good. Fucking A, Joe.
I mean,
Tell me about the MPs.
Mine's definitely a lot fucking different than John's there. So I'm a twin. Jay and John found this out last week.
Yeah, we did not know this until like literally last week. Like I was like, wait, you're
actually talking about that's what made us do this fucking spin the wheel for discussion topics and shit. And put origin stories on there, just a little background to some behind the scenes shit for everybody that's watching and listening. So I'm a twin, was adopted at 6 months old, taken at birth from birth parents for them being just complete shitheads. That's the best I can go as a closed adoption. I don't have much more information than what I found out from family that knew my birth parents anyways. And my dad was an MP in the Army. My cousin, West Point graduate, grew up in a military family, adopted at 6 months, moved to Fort Bragg. Family moved down to North Carolina and Fort Bragg when I was right about 6.5, 7 months old. Grew up here. I was a fucking shithead in high school, but I did ROTC also, but it was Army because at an Army base, of course, that's going to be the more common one. Straightened up in high school because of ROTC. ROTC is actually what made me learn a lot more discipline and kind of grow up. Decided right at 9/11. I mean, when 9/11 happened, I was 13, 14 years old, and decided the day the towers were attacked, because my dad was actually in DC for a fucking conference at the Pentagon when that shit happened.
Oh shit.
Luckily he was on his way in when the plane hit the Pentagon, so he was safe, but we couldn't get any communication to him for fucking like 4 days. So
Jesus
Mom
Christ.
and everybody were freaking out. I decided I was going to go in that day, stuck to it. My dad didn't think I was going to fucking make it through basic training. Like, he had a bet with his
You
with one of
signed up
his fucking
you
buddies.
signed up on 9/11?
Mm-mm.
Oh, shortly
No.
after?
Because I was only 13 years old when 9/11
Oh,
happened.
okay. Sorry.
No, in 06, I was 17, getting ready to graduate high school / college, because they just started this early college program in North Carolina where you got your associate's degree with your high school diploma at the same time. Signed up at 17 with an associate's in computer science. So I went to basic as an E4 in lovely Fort Leonard Wood, fucking Missouri. Goddamn hell on earth. I don't know what's worse, Benning or fucking Leonard Wood.
They're both kind of equally up there in my book. I'm not like, I've been to both and spent plenty of time at both, and they
got cussed out by my recruiter for fucking going MP when my ASVAB score could have put me in a lot higher of a fucking job. But I didn't want to do desk jockey work. We were in fucking combat zone at the time. MPs were a combat MOS. I wanted to go over and kick doors in and take out Hajis. That's what my fucking goal was. They attacked us. I'm gonna fucking kill them.
Coming right after them.
Spent 7 years in, got through basic and MP school at Leonard Wood. Then right after my 10-day leave after fucking AIT, was shipped off to fucking jump school, completed that, and then right to fucking Iraq when I literally reported to my first duty station, and within 3 days had fucking orders.
Wow.
This was back when they were still doing fucking 12, 13, 14 fucking month deployments for combat MOSs.
So is it what you expected? Like, did you expect that to happen?
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect because, I knew what my dad was going through from
growing up
until
around
that point, from when 9/11 happened up until that point, with rapid deployments and turnarounds and constantly back and forth. I had a feeling because I wasn't a combat MOS, it was going to happen. I didn't expect, 3 days after reporting to my first duty station okay, now we've got to get you all your gear, get you fucking turned around, ready to fucking fly over, type of situation. Because I got my orders 3 days after reporting to my first duty station. A week and a half later, I was in the fucking sandbox.
Holy shit.
That fucking fast of a fucking turnaround.
That's dope. Fucking trial by fire right there.
But during all this, I came back. Obviously, unit was on fucking downturn from just getting back. Our sister unit was getting ready to go over. Me being high speed fucking, at this point, a little over 2 years in, I decided I was volunteering to go back over, and I just got fucking E5. Because again, going in at E4, turnaround time to get E5 is really fucking fast. I volunteered, went over with our sister unit to Afghanistan this time.
Hell yeah.
Did 6 months on that. No, I did just shy of 12 months on that fucking deployment. Came back. This time I actually was able to stay stateside for about 2 years before back over.
I was gonna say, like, it's like when you came back from that second one, like you literally had more time deployed than like time in the States, basically, like after training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it was fucking insane. I loved it though.
Holy
Loved
shit.
it. Now,
You get a lot of experience too.
in the process of
but then you come home and
between-
you suck at Garrison Army though. Like it's a real extreme culture shock coming back.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to step on you, but yeah, it's
being in
a
Garrison
big
Army
culture
was
shock.
just complete fucking hell.
You forget how to fucking march sometimes. You know what I mean? Where you have to fucking rewind your fucking brain. You're like, wait a minute, step off with the left foot first. You know what I mean? Like, wait, what? You know what I mean? Like, go ahead, Joe. I apologize.
So, in between deployment 1 and voluntary deployment number 2, I enrolled back into college for an online program in computer hardware engineering. Completed my first and second semester while deployed on that shitty fucking internet overseas.
Yeah.
Came back, was able to finish my bachelor's stateside, and then went on to grad school and completed grad school while on my third deployment. Since then, I've, pretty much I've had some ups, I've had some downs. I now work in the IT field, and due to COVID's really what kind of got me into, because I've always liked the game. I've always liked, shit like this.
Oh
but
yeah.
COVID got me into streaming, and then that led me to you two fuckers, and here we are doing the fucking podcast.
That's fucking funny. I love that. That's fucking. How long have you been out?
I was medically separated in 2013, 2014.
Okay, so right around the time John's coming in, like is like
John's coming in, and I'm going out.
You're really transitioning out. Yeah. Okay. I was just curious about like the different timelines. So that's pretty good. I love how like all three of us have things in common with each other, but we're like not all like exactly the same. You know what I mean? So
it's interesting too that at some point me and Jay were on Fort Benning at the same time at one point.
That's absolutely true. When I went to Fort Benning to reclass, that was August of 2014, and I was there until December.
And that was less than a mile away.
Yep, there you go. So freaking like that's like that's fucking fun.
And that's an interesting thing about the military too, because like if you were stationed in some place, maybe I was training somewhere, or maybe yada yada. There's always like
there's always a little bit of overlap. Yeah,
that's the beautiful thing about like when you have these military conversations with other vets. You're just like, oh yeah, well I was there at this time. Like, oh no shit, like you remember when this happened at the class 6?
Yeah. So Jay, obviously it's your turn. Your go around here.
Oh boy,
I've got some questions when we get to your military stuff.
Sure. Yeah, my military career was eclectic. That's probably the word I would use, eclectic. So, but probably not unlike myself. So yeah. No, actually, similar origin story to yours in a manner and form. I'm also adopted. So a long time ago, in the wee months of early January, fucking 1981, dude. Like, I got birthed into this world, kicking and screaming, bathed in blood. All right, and 2 weeks later, I was given up for adoption, and that's all. Like so like my family is basically like my family. Okay, like we'll kind of start it right there, and then there's other stuff that happens a lot later in my life related to that, but that has only kind of like recently occurred. So like it's been my parents. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and my parents moved to a place called Tucson, Arizona, in 1985. I was 4. My baby sister was still a baby, and I think she wasn't even. She was less than a year old. I think she was less than a year old when we moved. So I remember I have like vague snapshot memories of us like moving to Arizona, and then that's where I did all of my fucking growing up, and I mean all of it. So like elementary, middle, high school, post high school, era, all that shit. That was pretty much all Tucson, or all like Arizona, basically. We did a lot of vacations, family vacations, like out here to Kansas City to see family and to visit. So I grew up. I've been a lifelong Kansas City Royals and Kansas City Chiefs fan. Although for colleges, I do root for the Arizona Wildcats because that's there in Tucson, and that's kind of how I grew up. So anywho, it's like in Tucson, I was like the only Royals fan for probably miles, right? Here in Kansas City, I'll probably be one of the only Arizona Wildcat fans for miles. So I get to represent KC and Tucson, so that's kind of cool, right? But Tucson is definitely where I cut my teeth, and definitely through good, bad, and ugly, happenings in life. Tucson is definitely what shaped and molded me the most. I've got some wonderful people there still to this day. We still make it a point to visit as often as possible, which has turned into, unfortunately, like it's usually multiple years in between, but eventually we still make it to Tucson to see a lot of my homies and like the people that I grew up with, my brothers and sisters that I grew up with in Tucson, that literally from some of them from the playground, like we're talking about decades long interactions and keeping up with each other and stuff like that. And so have a lot of good people in my life in Arizona, but Arizona was not, as I got older, after high school in my early 20s, through a lot of good, bad, and ugly. Okay. I was very restless, and I felt that I did not belong in Tucson, and I did not belong. I'd never really felt that the passion of growing up in Tucson was eventually supplanted by the passion of wanting to get out. And as much as I love the beauty of the Sonoran Desert, me and Tucson stopped fitting very well together. So like as a town, as a location, as an atmosphere, I wanted more, and I had always daydreamed of coming back to Kansas City. You know what I mean? Kansas City was like my like 7 cities of gold. Like it was a myth, except it fucking existed. I knew it existed because every once in a while my family would go on a fucking road trip and we'd drive there, right? And so this dream I was chasing of Kansas City, of living in Kansas City, was eventually freaking achieved. And then it was a very rudely snatched from me about 6 months later. And I found myself driving back to Tucson at 28 years old, like on a 2-day fucking road trip, to go live with my parents for the first time in almost 10 years. And I'm like sitting there behind the wheel, like, what the fuck am I going to do? Oh my fucking God. Like, motherfucker, you're 3 months shy of being 29. What the fuck are you going to do with your life? It was one of those like really sad, take a moment, take a bro moment for yourself and, cry whatever you need to cry out, because tomorrow you need to grow your fucking dick back and fucking figure something the fuck out. And that was like, and that was not, by the way, that was not the first life moment I had like that. This was that life moment where it was like, okay, bro, now you're fucking 28, you're almost 29. You're really going to be fucked here in a couple of years if you don't do something quick, and you need to make it happen fast. Like not fucking tomorrow fast, fucking 3 weeks ago fast. Like you need to figure something the fuck out.
You were on the brink.
I was beyond the brink. My life at that moment had functionally, the floor had fallen out from underneath my feet, and I was still in free fall. There's like I had not hit any semblance of a bottom, and it got scary because when I think when we live our lives in fear, a lot of times the fear fucking drives us, but it also fucking causes us to make bad choices and decisions. Yes.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm sure you can see where this is leading. Like I went, as soon as I got back to fucking Tucson, Fucking went to a recruiter like literally the next day. And I was like, if you guys can get me in the fucking army, dude, like I will leave as fucking soon as you need me. And like, cause I did not want to be back in. I don't want anybody to hear this the wrong way. I love Tucson, Arizona. I'm extremely proud to say that I grew up there and like still have brothers and sisters there. I'm proud of the giant fucking chip on my shoulder that it gave me. You know what I mean? But at this moment in time, that it was the last place on earth I wanted to be. I really felt I didn't belong, and I didn't want to be
I feel
back
that.
in Tucson. Yeah, I did not want to go back. I felt like I was going home a failure. And with my, this is again like really functionally through no fault of my own. I did not really, you know, I did not freaking, I don't know what the word would be. I did not start the chain of events that occurred that led to me driving back to fucking Arizona with my tail between my legs. Put it that way. I did not initiate that sequence of events. It was done, unfortunately, like to me, if that makes sense. So, you know, anywho, recruiter fucking says, well, you got to retake your fucking ASVAB because it's been 10 years since you got out of high school. It's been
Jesus Christ.
It's been over 10 years since you fucking took the last one. So we got to retake that. But after, you know, I retook the ASVAB. Once that was done, all I had to do is fucking go to MEPS and pass MEPS, which I did. And then after MEPS, all I had to do was fucking wait. I don't know what it was, like a month and a half, barely. I think I got back to Arizona in the first week of October in 2009. I went to basic training in January of 2010. So I was able, in fact, to make it like by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
You made it happen.
And stay out of trouble in the meanwhile with a lot of rage and just psychological hurt going on. You know what I mean? Like over my you know, my sob story of a freaking life at the time, right?
Yeah, it was like it's almost sounds like, you know, there was a chapter that you finished and you didn't know how to write the next book, and you're just like, I think I need to do something drastic.
It was you only get I want to say, like, you know, metaphorically speaking, of course, in life, every once in a while you get a chance to hit the reset button. Every once in a while. It's not necessarily healthy to do it a lot, but it's also not necessarily healthy to never do it if given the opportunity. And so I was able to, in fact, like literally like slam the fucking emergency brake, you know, stop the car and fucking turn that motherfucker into a completely different road, and then fucking like jam on the fucking accelerator and hit, you know, I just hit the reset button and fucking jam on the accelerator again. And like, so yeah, I didn't really have a lot of time as far as like maybe grieving my situation is concerned, but going to basic fucking like 3 months later, sure as shit fucking helped. You know what I mean? It gave me a lot of perspective. I joined initially as a mechanic. Basically, I was a construction equipment repairer. So I did my basic training and actually my AIT at Fort Leonard Wood, like where Joe was talking about. And then I ended up getting stationed at Fort Leonard Wood. I was in fact somewhat of a high performer, especially as a mechanic initially. I was believe it or not, I was a distinguished honor graduate in my AIT, and then they give out a leadership award, and that's as voted on by the class, and so it's basically like whoever gets the most votes is, you know, gets the leadership award. I was given the leadership award, so the only 2 awards that they gave out in AIT, I got both of them for the class that I was in. So I was somewhat of a high performer during training, and then as I got stationed at Fort Leonard Wood, there happened to be a force comm unit, you know, and it was called a maneuver enhancement brigade, and these were created during the height of Iraq and Afghanistan in the mid 2000s. Mm-hmm. These maneuver enhancement brigades were created to be a fully functioning support brigade for a fully functioning infantry BCT. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like,
yes, that makes a lot of sense.
The entire brigade was fucking engineers, MPs, fucking signal. Okay, like literally
essentials.
Maneuver support. It's maneuver support basically. It's called maneuver support, and that's like, so the maneuver enhancement brigade is what I fell into. Anywho, I was with the engineers because that was my MOS. I was basically a mechanic for engineer vehicles. And I had about a year on station before I volunteered to go transfer to a different battalion and go on a deployment. I was chosen along with literally somewhere between 4 and 6 other people total to go on this deployment. And I was a PFC at the time, and they took me, and so I went to this new unit who had already done all their training. Like they'd been in a training cycle for, however 6 months, a year, I don't know, because I just showed up, and 2 weeks later we were on a plane to Afghanistan. And so like I didn't have any time with the dudes, but that was okay. And then I spent my first deployment was, in fact, it was a year. It was 12 months. So I went in June of 2011 and came home in June of 2012, and I was a mechanic attached to combat engineers conducting route clearance operations in RC West, Afghanistan. So I spent a year with combat engineers doing combat engineer shit, and that was like, it was very eye-opening. It was, I use this term loosely sometimes, so I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea, but I had a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed having a purpose and seeing the results of us being in this country, like little girls being able to walk to and from school, little girls being able to attend school, right? There were a lot of we were in a city called Herat quite a bit towards the end of the deployment, and in this city sometimes the women they wouldn't wear like burqas. They would cover their heads, but you could see their faces. You know what I mean? When they'd start they were getting a little bit braver because we were fucking there. And if they fuck with us, we fuck really hard back. You know what I mean? When we get fucked with over there. So it's like people were getting a little bit fucking braver. And so like that was my first deployment experience, basically. What were you gonna say, Joe?
So funny enough, when you went on your first deployment and landed in Afghanistan, I had just left Afghanistan. I'd probably been out for like 2 weeks by the time June of 2011 rolled around.
Yeah. And you, when you're deployed, when you're gone, you learn a lot, and it changes things a little bit. But going back to Garrison Army, I got switched into a different engineer company. It was a 12 Charlie unit, which is they build the bridges. And I spent the next 2 years in that company, madly trying to either join special forces or get reclassed over to the infantry, because all I wanted to do was go back to Afghanistan. So I spent like the next 2 years of my life in a mad fucking scramble to align myself and my career back up into combat, the combat arms profession, basically. Like the one, either the dudes with the blue cords or the dudes with the funny green hats. Either fucking way, because I knew those were the quickest, easiest ways back to Afghanistan.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do after that, and that's take it for what it is. I'm not a fucking.
That's really cool.
I'm not a fucking tough guy. I found something that I was really good at naturally, and a lot of the elements of deployments that you might say otherwise bother people, I was very at home in. And I felt a lot more comfortable there oftentimes than I did in Garrison. And so it's kind of a bitter pill for some people to swallow, but I enjoyed it. I really, that's about as honest as I can put it, is that I enjoyed my time in war. And it's not it's kind of a hard pill to swallow, but that was my experience, and I don't necessarily even know how to quantify that with myself. It's in your blood.
Well, that's kind of why, you were trying to get away from being an engineer so you could get into a combat arms thing so you could go on
12 Bravos.
Yeah, 12 Bravos got my jump wings. That's why I went and did my jump wings, because I knew with that I was going to go more.
12 Bravos and 12 Charlies are combat MOSs, but I wanted to, like, where engineers start leading the way, when we need like roads cleared or paths cleared or freaking something, some kind of a structure freaking needs to be breached, that's where engineers lead the way. The entire rest of the time, the entire U.S. Army revolves around the fucking infantry. You know what I mean? So it made more sense. I had a sergeant major right before I reclassed and went down to Benning. I had a sergeant major actually ask me, he's like, why don't you become a combat engineer? And I was like, nah, I'm good, man. Like I spent a year in Afghanistan, much love to my sapper brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Like has nothing to do with anything other than I knew it was going to be a lot quicker if I just went to the infantry. You know what I mean? Like the turnaround time, so to speak. Like everybody and their mom and the engineers like wants to deploy. Like when they come around for freaking volunteers, like I got lucky getting selected for that first deployment I went on. I was lucky because there was no shortage of people fucking like literally like mad scramble. Please get me back over there.
So how many did you end up doing?
After I reclassed to the infantry, I did 2 more. So I did a 9-month rotation to Kandahar in 2016, and I did a 9-month rotation to Helmand, the Helmand province, in 2018. That was my last one. So in total, I have 30 months, time spent in Afghanistan. Basically 2.5 years of my life I've spent in Afghanistan.
Yeah, because you went on your first deployment right when we pulled out of Iraq. So
just about like we're still kind of in Iraq, but Iraq wasn't really the deployments happening. It was like chances were like, better than 9 out of 10. If you were getting deployed, you were going to Afghanistan. Occasionally people would go to freaking like Syria, still a couple places in Iraq, maybe a couple places in fucking Africa, but better odds than 9 out of 10 is like if you got deployed, you're going to Afghanistan. And I went to Afghanistan 3 times. So that was like, and I felt a lot more at home. I think after I came home after my last one, I became an instructor at the NCO Academy at Fort Carson, and that helped me kind of unwind a little bit and take a knee and kind of like take inventory of myself, because now I was approaching the rapid end of my Army career. The Army book was closing on me, and I saw it coming a mile away. So I kind of like had time to a little bit of time to prepare, but it gave me a chance to take a knee and drink water being an instructor. So I was very fortunate that I was able to use my final couple of years in the Army, giving back as much as I could to the soldiers around me who were about to become NCOs and take my place when I was gone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just try to impart any knowledge and wisdom I could share with them to hopefully keep them and the soldiers they're in charge of alive someday. You know what I mean? If it ever comes to it, because that's kind of like the idea when you become an NCO. It's like it's on you. And I enjoyed having that responsibility. I was very fortunate. I had a very fortunate Army career. For as much moving and shaking as I did, I was extremely fortunate. Had a very storied career in a sense. To start as like in an MOS that was basically support for support, and to end on somewhat of a high note in the infantry. 12 years later, after joining, after joining, when you're already approaching 30, you know what I mean? When you join, and to still have 12 years and say that, like, I did my fucking best every goddamn day and nobody can take any of that shit from me. Like, that was like, I did, like, hey, Ma, I did one thing fucking right. If I did nothing else, if I did everything else wrong, I did this one thing right. And I like to think I assisted in keeping a lot of people alive and getting a lot of people home. And that was the whole fucking point. That's the whole fucking point. So I feel like I did okay. But that's basically like, and that's kind of where we're at. Like, John and I met in the midst of my transition. Like, I was getting ready to start getting out. Like, I didn't know exactly if I was even getting out or not when you and me first met, but it became very apparent very quickly that, like, my career was rapidly coming to an end, and I might as well just freaking get on with it and do the life thing again.
It was it was a very interesting time.
It was. Yeah, that's a very polite way of putting it, John. It's a very polite way of putting it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do remember that time, and you were literally like in between.
Yeah, you had
positives and negatives that evened out on both sides too. Like, it was like,
oh yeah, there was I was literally like inhabiting the ghost world for a little while, dude, because it was just like I was caught between two worlds. Everything was kind of like how I got into the Army. Stuff was starting to like collapse in around me, and it was like, well, this is obviously Cody, dude, you're gonna need to stop that. That's really rude, buddy. I love you, but you're gonna need to stop that.
Look at that, Jay. You got a question from Max Mraz.
Would you have chosen different MOS that would have better translated to this? Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. since I have gotten out, I've gotten more use out of my infantry MOS than I have the mechanic one, and that's because like I get to do security at, you know, there's a couple of cathedrals here in Kansas City. One's called Kauffman Stadium where the Royals play, and the other one's called Arrowhead Stadium.
Called it a
Where
cathedral.
they're the cathedrals of Kansas City, dude. And I get to do fucking security. I get to do security for, you know, for during the games sometimes. And when I started doing security last year for the Royals, I did not even ask them for like a particular position or anything, but they did ask for my DD-214, and so like I produced a copy, and they the very first game I worked for the Kansas City Royals, they put me on the field. Like I was
Yeah,
the on-field
did.
security, like the guy sitting next to the dugout, you know, dodging foul balls, you know, like making sure nobody gets, you know, silly, or Wanda the Kissing Bandit, you know, doesn't make it onto the field or whatever. Like that's because I'm assuming that's because of my infantry pedigree that is contained on my DD-214. My DD-214 is, it's really funny when you look at that piece of paper and you see everything that's on there. If they get it correct, it pretty much tells your entire fucking story, and like in very short terms, you know what I mean? And what my DD-214 says is probably what got me a position where I get to be on field security for the Kansas City Royals from time to time. Not every single game, but from time to time. If you look close enough on TV when they do like the you know, the zoom out, you know, or whatever, you might see your old pal Jay, dude, on Royals baseball. So fucking look for me this season. So yeah,
Yep.
fucking A.
Well, that was really good. I mean, we got to learn a little bit about each other.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
I
was
just
nice. It was nice.
yeah. So I mean, now we got news, and then we're final thought, and then we'll get out of here. Really small little tidbits.
What you got?
First, GTA 6. Someone bought. Well, before I get to that, 11 cities have been revealed for
11?
GTA 6.
11 cities?
Yes.
That sounds massive.
Not just one like normal.
Yeah.
11.
11. That's
The
a
cities
fucking
and
lot.
towns include the following: Ambrosia, Cooperhead, Domed Hills, Epaphanica, Hamlet, Lake Leonida, LO, Port Gellhorn, which I'm going to get to in a second, Red Hill, Sundown, and Yorktown. In addition to these named locations, there are supposedly special locations like strip malls where players can shop, a forest where you can hunt, a beach plaza where you can enjoy the sun, and drag strips where you could drag race.
This sounds similar to GTA 5, just kind of on a little bit of a bigger level, like where there were little hamlets, you know, like throughout the map, you know, where there's like people living there or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
like as you're
What's
like driving into the mountains in the forest, like past the army base or whatever, right?
yeah.
So that's like that's almost what this sounds like, just on a little bit of a bigger level.
just some information. And now what's funny about Port Gellhorn is that someone thought it'd be a good idea to buy portgellhorn.com, thinking that now in today's age you can't pay an extra couple $100 and they can't take the fucking website from you, because that's what you can do. You go on godaddy.com, and if you want like dd214.com and it's taken, you spend a couple more dollars and you fucking buy it off of them. Apparently, this is what Rockstar did to this person who thought that they were going to get a big payday. Like they thought it was $19.99 and McDonald's.com just came out. It's not happening, sir. In other news, this is big news. Counter-Strike 2 has been officially revealed. Counter-Strike, a game that's been around for such a long time.
I was going to say, how old is Counter-Strike? What's the actual fucking like age on Counter-Strike? It's been around so fucking long, dude. Like, this is kind of crazy.
2000. It is 23 years old.
That's what I fucking thought.
Now, what's interesting about this is that I didn't even put into perspective that there's never been an actual sequel to Counter-Strike. You know, there's been spin-offs, there's been versions, there's been builds, there's been all this stuff.
You know, rip-offs, basically. Yeah.
And Counter-Strike 2 is I mean, this is big news. I mean, and they're saying that it's coming to console. So, with that being said, are we finally going to have an enjoyable shooter on console now? with Counter-Strike.
Arma
Arma's
would be
coming.
great.
Arma's coming soon on console. Arma 4.
If they could fix the mechanics of the like the POV of the when you're like in individually like outside of a vehicle in Arma would be the best game ever. Because then as soon as you like dismount a vehicle, it's like almost like Call of Duty.
Because it has everything. It has everything.
It does. And it also and then the reason people nerd out on Arma is because it's realistic enough. Like you can't just run and gun.
Yeah.
Like it's not this,
there are people sitting there for hours in an attack.
Just waiting. Like if you got a tank formation, man, you can't necessarily just show yourself all the time because you will get targeted and killed immediately. That's what happens in war. Yeah. So right? Like that's
so this is really big news for Counter-Strike.
Absolutely.
A new Xbox console is in the works and it already has a code name. Xbox Anaconda is the next console project being worked on by Microsoft. Right now, this is
Anaconda.
This is all we know right now. Now, I love the name. I suspect and expect that PlayStation will come back with something within the next couple months, saying that they're working on something as well. I know so because they just can't let it go. And Nintendo,
Sony's got such a hard on with anything Microsoft does right now.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Squilini. There is a major talk right now that another Nintendo console is coming out within the next couple years.
So it's kind of back and forth because since the Switch is released, it's been fucking Jay. So since the Switch is released and now we're going on,
that was funny as hell.
Almost 8-9 years since the Switch came out.
Yeah.
Every year there's been talk about a pro version of the Switch, and so far
we just got the OLED.
Is we had the Switch, then we had Revision 2, which was the same hardware, but with a bigger battery, so it had a little bit better battery life. Then we got the Switch Lite, which was just the Switch in a handheld only mode. Then we got the OLED, which gave us a bigger screen by like 0.2 inches or some shit like that, with an OLED screen versus an LED panel. So you get truer blacks, better color accuracy, stuff like that. The Switch Pro talk has fired back up, and at the same time, there's also talks of this other console that's going to be in the Switch lineup.
Interesting.
So here's the thing: Nintendo really hit the nail on the head with the Switch. After the Wii U, which the way they touted the Wii U was now you can play your games on the go or on a TV, which that really wasn't the case. What's going on, Campbell? Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, you'll have to rewind back to the beginning after we stop going live, Campbell, because there's a whole conversation about that. Yeah,
afternoon, my brother.
Afternoon.
Operator error.
That is so funny. That's the first thing Campbell says. And that's the first thing Deshaun said too. Deshaun was like, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, the Switch is really the epitome of what Nintendo was trying to go with the Wii U, and it works. It really does, because if I want to play a video game while watching a movie with the missus, I can pull my Switch out the dock, boot it up in handheld mode, play Pokemon, play Zelda, play Mario, play anything
poker.
I want, and still be able to watch TV at the same time. Or if we have the neighbors over and we want to talk shit, drink beer, and play fucking Mario Kart, I throw it on the TV. We each grab a fucking controller and we play fucking Mario Kart. So I don't see Nintendo creating a whole new console. I see them improving upon the hardware that we've got so far. because really the downfalls with the Switch as it is in handheld mode, even with the OLED, if I'm playing, say, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the Zelda title that came out when the Switch launched, I get maybe 3 hours of gameplay before the console's dying, before the battery's about dead.
Right.
So obviously battery life's something they need to work on, but then at the same time, improved graphics. Figuring out a way to give us 4K graphics and better graphics. Because here's the thing. In a handheld, the display technology's out there because our cell phones can fucking do it nowadays.
This is true.
The processor in my cell phone, the memory in my cell phone, and the display on my cell phone can allow me to watch 4K content.
So why can't you do it on a video game?
So why can't Nintendo implement that into a Switch?
Right.
It's the tech's there. There's just improvements that Nintendo can do to the Switch hardware that people are going to go out and purchase it. You know, Nintendo got backlash when they announced the OLED. Like, oh, so what? Now we've got an OLED screen. But you know what people did? They still went and bought the motherfucker, even though they were complaining that it wasn't a pro fucking version of the console. Like, I don't give a shit if it's a pro version. Give me better graphics. Give me better battery life. Get it to the point where I can sit here and play a fucking game for 5 hours in handheld mode and not have to worry about, am I close enough to a power source to plug it in when it's about to die?
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be.
There's no need for a whole new console to come out from Nintendo. Nintendo needs to give us the next gen or the current gen graphics that Xbox and the Series X and S have and the PS5 has in the Switch, and the Switch will finally be where it needs to be.
I agree.
To echo what you were just saying, like there's not a lot of need for a lot of things that are coming out right now. Among them, like Shazam 2, Ant-Man 3, you know, fucking all those bullshit fucking sequel movies, Scream 6, right? Like
so to answer you on that, Max, the Steam Deck, great concept. I love it. I want to get my hands on one so I can myself test out the hardware. Because then I will have a PC that I can carry around with me and play my Steam library on. Am I very enthusiastic that it's locked down to just what I have in my Steam library? No. But at the same time, I understand that, you know, with the way the video game market is and everything being digital content nowadays, not a lot of people buy physical games anymore like we used to.
Which is a mistake.
The Steam Deck,
which I've always said is a mistake. Like, big mistake.
But the Steam Deck is the perfect way for Valve to capitalize and make money. And all they did was take the concept of the Nintendo Switch, because the Steam Deck you can get a docking station for and connect it to a monitor and a mouse and keyboard and play your Steam games like you would if you were playing them on your PC.
Right.
So the Steam Deck is the PC version of a fucking Switch. That's all it is. And the concept's great. Were they original in their thought process with it? Hell no, because the Switch was there first. But for PC gamers that travel and shit,
they made it work better.
That's where the market. That's where the market is.
Yeah.
Steam knew there's a market for it, so they released something to fill that gap. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper than going out and buying a gaming laptop. I can get the 512 gigabyte version of the Steam Deck, which then I can drop my own M2 drive into and upgrade it to 1-2 terabytes of storage. And it's literally got the same storage as my full-blown fucking gaming PC for a quarter of the price of what a gaming laptop would cost me.
Yeah.
Sounds like it makes sense.
And the last gaming news we have here, Ghost of Tsushima.
There you go.
Movie, maybe black and white.
Oh, fuck yeah. Akira Kurosawa style, dude. Fucking A. That'd be dope if it fucking
Yeah,
was.
a
dude.
lot of people.
They've already sold me on this fucking movie, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
gonna
game.
be watching this
If
movie.
it's black and white, I am game.
Dude, have you, Joe? Are you familiar with the game? Like, did you play the game?
I haven't played the game, but I've watched a lot of gameplay footage and a lot of people that have played it.
It's one of the it's it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto in feudal Japan, or like feudal, or like medieval, feudal Japan or whatever. But it's like it's the way they do it is really good. The storyline is excellent, and the visuals are stunning. And it's like, so even in the parts of the game that get a little repetitive, it doesn't really lose its flavor, and it's very majestic at times, and like I'm already sold on this fucking movie. This is like this might actually translate to art, guys. If we're lucky, this might become art.
Yeah, and with the rise of the video game movies coming out with Sonic and The Last of Us being such a hit.
Last of Us was a fucking a very well done video game movie / show. Yeah. One of the first I've ever fucking seen. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like, and now for this last news article, this is in no way, shape, or form to trigger any kind of fucking, whatever about the names of the bases. Okay, we know what the fuck was wrong with it, and that's fucking final. That's it. The military bases, how they're getting renamed.
Bases. Oh yeah,
fucking Camp Liberty.
Okay, a lot of these bases were found after the Civil War between the early and mid 20th century, an era in which the bulk of Confederate monuments were erected as Southern states enacted laws disenfranchising Black Americans. But the first designation would be Fort Rucker, Alabama, home of the Army's aviation training. And on April 20th, the base will be renamed after Chief Warrant Officer Michael Navoso Sr., a veteran of World War II and the Korean-Vietnam Wars. He was awarded the Medal of Honor in Vietnam after he flew his helicopter into heavy gunfire during 15 medical evacuations in one single battle, saving 29 soldiers. His helicopter was heavily damaged, and he was also shot while flying.
Fucking A. That's fucking pilot right there.
On April 27th, Fort Lee, Virginia will be redesignated to Fort Gregg Adams, a name that references two trailblazing Black officers, Lieutenant General Arthur Gregg, the first Black soldier to rise to the 3-star general in the logistics field, and Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams, the first Black officer in the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, the component of the Army where women served when units were still segregated by gender. Gregg, 94, would be the only living person to have an Army post named after him.
That's badass. That is fucking badass.
On May 11th, good old Fort Benning, Georgia, which is the home of the service's infantry, tanker, and cavalry scout basic training, will be renamed Fort Moore after Lieutenant General Hal Moore and his wife, Julia Moore. Hal Moore, a Korean and Vietnam War veteran, is best known for leading the 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry Regiment in the legendary Battle of La Grande Valley in 1965. Immortalized in the book and movie, We Were Soldiers.
Yep.
The battle was one of the first major engagements for the U.S. in the war and was the first notable employment of modern cavalry and air assault tactics.
That's correct. That is all correct.
Yep.
Fucking A. Good congratulations to the Moore family, dude. Like, a little bit of recognition right there, dude. So
I think this couldn't have been more overdue because we've actually talked about this too, rebranding Fort Hood.
Yeah, there's a couple places that I would also say, like, regardless of involvement with with
Civil War things, like there was a lot of
regardless of that, there's a couple of posts that probably just need a good old fashioned we're gonna call you by a different name now because you're kind of fucking stinking the place up, dude. Like.
Yep.
So Fort Hood definitely needs a fucking facelift.
Yep. Right. Fort Hood is set to be renamed Fort Cavazos on May 9th after Richard Cavazos, the Army's first Hispanic 4-star general and veteran of the Korean and Vietnam Wars. He earned the Distinguished Service Cross separately in conflict for heroic actions in combat. Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Fucking Camp Liberty.
It's actually going to be called Fort Liberty.
Fort Liberty.
Oh, so they were initially going to do Camp Liberty.
Yep.
Not a fan.
It's going for.
Not a fan, dude. Like,
it's the only post that will not be named after a famed member of the service. Which
Bragg and changing Bragg and to Liberty, it just doesn't fit because it's fucking Bragg.
Yeah. You can change Bragg without making it so like they just really shot themselves in the dick on that one. Like,
Yeah,
there's a way.
yeah.
If we're gonna change brag from brag, like it needs to be something with a little bit more fucking dick, probably, because fucking they literally call it the center of the universe when you're there. It's called the center of the universe. Like, that's the nickname they give it, the center of the universe. Because in the army, that is where fucking like the everybody at the top of the top of the top fucking comes in and out of. Okay, if that's the part of the army you want to be in, it is the center of the fucking universe.
So Brett,
Liberty, dude. Like,
so
come on,
yeah, so Fort Liberty did say the name Fort Liberty was not chosen at random. Those who served in the naming commission for Fort Bragg struggled to agree on one name for more than 50 Medal of Honor recipients for the replacement of Fort Bragg, who would capture and encompass the scope and spirit of this installation. Each of them is just as deserving as the other, but what resonated amongst the commission and community members was the desire to name the installation not after a single person, but a value or characteristic that would have significance for everyone. I'm sorry, I disagree with that, because I feel like if you honor someone, you're honoring that duty by honoring that person's name.
I would my vote would have been for Fort Benavides after Roy Benavides, because he started in the 82nd and then eventually made it to the Special Forces, and then later became a Medal of Honor recipient for actions that occurred during the Vietnam War. And so he had touched like both of the hot spots, you know, at Bragg, basically. And so like why not fucking Fort Benavides, guys? Like that. I don't think people would have a problem switching from Bragg to Benavides.
I don't think so either.
Bro,
I don't
like
think
they
so.
really fucked up with like Liberty doesn't sound like Bragg. There's no liberty. There's no liberty at the center of the universe, dude. When you want to play with the big boys, when you want to jump out of planes with the fucking homies, dude, like there is no fucking liberty, dude. Like you're locked down. You're locked down tight because that's how the big boys play. Like, come on, man, fucking Fort Liberty, dude.
Yes. And you know, then we have Fort Gordon. The date is not set in stone, but garrison officials are aiming for October. This coincides with the birthday of Dwight D. Eisenhower, who will be the installation's new namesake. For Fort Gordon, Fort A.P. Hill, Virginia, and Fort Polk, Louisiana do not have dates yet for their renaming. Spokespersons have told the media right now.
Better figure it the fuck out, guys.
Yeah, because the time is coming. And
Fort Gordon is changing to Eisenhower.
Yeah, Fort Eisenhower.
Fort Eisenhower. I can dig Eisenhower. I like Ike. I like
Ike. They should have just called it Fort Ike.
They probably
like straight
will.
up.
They probably
It's going to be the nickname.
Yeah,
Fort Ike is going to be what people are going to call it. Nobody's going to actually call it Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
And so here, before we hit the final thought, which I'm taking today, we are going to do the Wheel of Names.
We didn't touch on one piece of news from this week.
Oh, what? Oh shit! What was that?
The LTT stuff / YouTube channels.
Yeah. Do it.
So another development in the kind of the tech / YouTube / podcasting, streaming, all that jazz fucking thing. Earlier this week, we had an incident on YouTube where not one specific channel, a specific channel kind of headlined it because they made content about it after they recovered from this situation. Several channels were hacked on YouTube and started live streaming a like crypto live stream that showed like Elon Musk as the forefront talking about some kind of cryptocurrency. One of these channels being Linus Tech Tips, and several other channels alongside that, and several of the channels falling under the Linus Media Group umbrella. There was a video that was released by Linus and his crew from them kind of battling and trying to regain control of their channels. Several of the channels got taken down. All videos were wiped out. And at one point in this video clip we're going to see here, Linus is woken up at 2:00 in the morning by another YouTuber via phone call saying your channel's being hacked. So this guy goes downstairs in his house and is sitting at a computer trying to battle this attack on his channels, butt naked. As you can see here, they have it blurred out because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He was dead asleep. He's not thinking put clothes on.
His wife
He's
is
just
on the other
thinking,
side too,
I need to
doing.
save my fucking life's work.
You can see his wife on the other side too, like, you can tell she's like
So what
frantic about it too.
What was the end result? Has it been resolved yet, or like what was?
So it's been resolved. He was able to get his channels back, but in the process, all the videos that were on the channels that got taken down by YouTube because this live stream went against guidelines. He was able to get his channels back up and running. All of the videos he had on his channels were getting deleted. He got all those back up. So I mean, as of right now, everything's completely back up and running.
He looks like a prolific freaking content creator. So, like, I could see that being, if that's
he's more than just a content creator. They're a whole company that does computer shit.
So,
like they have a reputation.
There's a reason.
Linus,
so this isn't like some celebrity fucking wigging out because freaking whatever. Like this is this dude's like you said, it's his life,
his livelihood.
Yeah.
It's his. Yeah. So he used to work for Linus, the owner of the company. Used to work for a Canadian computer parts store called NCIX. While he was there, he was like their manager of development and branding. He started a YouTube channel for that company called NCIX Tech Tips. He decided to break out and go on his own and bought the Tech Tips and NCIX Tech Tips channel from the company he was working for, and then rebranded it under Linus Tech Tips. Since then, he formed his own media company where he's got buildings with entire sets and stages and stuff that they shoot different content on. Like, he's a complete media company that focuses purely on tech. Several channels, podcasts, live streams, all these different things, talking tech and stuff. So it's his life's work. Pretty much his entire being is this channel, is his media company, and almost all of his channels that are tied back to his main company, to his LLC, to the media group, were being attacked.
Shit.
It's intense.
So, I mean, of course, if I was in his shoes, I'd have been downstairs in my fucking home office trying to battle this butt naked at 2 o'clock in the morning too.
Fucking A. It's one of those things you can't rest on your fucking laurels just because you make it to a certain pinnacle in life. You know what I mean? You have to fucking, if you what do they say? Like if you're champion, dude, if you're on top of the hill, dude, like the only thing people have to do is fucking come gunning for you. You know what I mean? Exactly. So like you gotta stay hungry. Gotta stay hungry.
Absolutely. Crazy whirlwind of events for them. And now we're gonna do the fucking wheel.
All right, here we go.
It's gonna be between the hot seat, I Dissent, Cards Against Humanity Live, which could be very dangerous.
And it could be very, very dangerous.
And Military Tales.
Oh boy.
Super Aryan Hitler.
Oh my God, that fucking dude, that shit just kept coming up that night.
It's gonna come back.
Probably is.
And here we go.
Yeah, I think we probably had Hitler mentioned like 12 times that night.
Like somewhere between 3 and 20. You know what I mean?
What's it gonna be?
It's fucking Cards
Against Humanity. So just so you guys know, if you are watching the show next week and you want to play Cards Against Humanity, you will see the code that you'll be able to join in live. So next week, for our center segment, we will play a little bit of Cards Against Humanity,
I'm telling you right now, we're gonna get taken down, dude. We are not. They're gonna fucking shut our stream down, dude. Like, just wait. Like, that's
and you know what? We'll go right back fucking live when they do it.
Yeah.
Just like when we got taken down over that one specific word.
Yeah. The backup plan is, if you shut us down on Facebook, we're gonna go to our YouTube, which is already set up for live. So
That's right. That's right.
So
We've got backups for our backups.
yeah. And if that doesn't work,
can't cancel what's already been canceled.
and if
bro.
that doesn't work, we'll go fucking go live on Twitter, on Instagram, on D Live, on fucking what's the other one? Trovo.
But you won't find us on any of those motherfuckers either. We're just there, bro. We're just fucking there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And so make sure you guys join us, guys. We're here at that time at the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us while we were talking about some origin stories. But right now we're going to get a little deep. We have resources up the ass for you, okay? There is no excuse. If you're feeling down today, if you're feeling lonely, if you just don't want to do it anymore, if you don't want to talk to us, you call the National Suicide Hotline, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255 or 988. You could also hit the crisis text line. You could text hello to 741-741, or you could go on the website, www.crisistextline.org. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is www.afsp.org. I have to put all these into the.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
I got a couple for you here.
Yeah.
Right.
Suicide awareness, voices of education, save.org. IASP.info/resources/crisis centers. The Trevor Project, 24/7 support at thetrevorproject.org or 1-866-488-7386. Mentalhealthamerica.net. The National Alliance on Mental Health, which is NAMI.org. It is important that while these resources are available, they may not be the best fit for everyone. And if someone is in immediate danger, you should call 911 or seek help from a trusted individual or healthcare provider. You can also check out Rise Above the Disorder. It is a nonprofit that takes the hassle out of finding a therapist and covers the cost for those in need worldwide. There's going to be a link in our Discord available in our mental health resources section. We're going to have all this stuff up for you. I'll have it more prepared as I'm just receiving all this information. Guys, you are not alone. You will never be alone. Okay? Jay goes through it. Joe goes through it. I go through it. Your mother goes through it. Your wife goes through it. Your husband goes through it. Hell, your fucking pets go through it too. Don't let them be the one today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to another episode. Join us next week for number 104. We're going to have another good time, and Squilini's going to have a little bit of his beard back.
Yeah, we'll see. Have a good day, guys.
Guys, this was a good one. This was special. I appreciate y'all.
Always
have
a
good
pleasure.
one.
Always a pleasure.
Fuck you, Facebook.